Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Say a very good morning and welcome to the program to the chair of the Otaki Community Board, Chris Papps. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, John, and good morning, listeners.
I bet it's beautiful in Otaki today.
It is absolutely glorious.
And I understand you had a rather good evening last evening on the bridge.
Yes, we had our last community liaison group meeting for the year, and Vic very kindly took us for a walk along the Otaki River Bridge, the one that's going to have the shared pathway and cycleway and cars zooming over it.
When do you think it's going to open, Chris?
Well, it won't open until the expressway, but they're hoping to have it open for construction traffic just after Christmas. Really?
Because it does look to be, well along the way. And what were your impressions of the new bridge?
Oh, the view's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely glorious. Up the river and down the river, and it's going to be a great attraction for people to walk along, stop in the middle, and be able to take photographs.
Indeed. And what about cyclists? Are they well looked after as well?
On the bridge, yes.
Yeah.
We've still got the shared pathway to finalise. The route and everything's done, but there's some places where it's a little bit narrow, but they're working on it. Because
the cycle access on the current bridge, I think, has been a bit of a bone of contention, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, the old bridge.
Yeah.
It's a bit hazardous whether you're walking or cycling.
That's right.
Even in cars if there's a truck coming towards you.
So the new bridge is there, and the liaison committee that you mentioned, this is between the people constructing the new highway and the local community, is it?
Well, it's representatives from different groups in the community. So, and last night we had the election for the annual, for the chair of it, and Max Lutz is now the chair of the community liaison group.
Excellent. Well, Max has been involved in public life for a very long time, hasn't he?
He certainly has.
Yes, indeed. Now, you've had your one meeting this year for the community board. When do you get into action again next year?
Our next meeting's not till, I think it's the 28th of January.
Oh, okay.
So it's a wee way off.
So you'll be putting your feet up. In the meantime, you've had lots of meetings, lots of, well, they're calling it induction. I've heard officers refer to this as breaking in the new people. Now,
just about. But I think us older members that have been there a few years still have things to learn.
Sure.
And legislation changes. There's all sorts of change going on, so we really still need to go to the inductions as well.
Indeed, and do you think you're learning something, Chris, or not?
Most of the time, yes, because even if it's a repeat of what we've done before, it just reinforces everything and reminds you of certain aspects.
And, of course, the more experience you have, the more context you have, and frankly, quite often, the more it makes sense, or conversely, it may not make sense, and therefore you're in a better position to ask the questions.
I think so, and it puts us in a better position to answer questions to the public as well. Once we've done it all, and once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it's almost becomes second nature.
Indeed. So you're well induced now. That's a term I heard from one of the councillors. Well inducted. And I assume that most of that work has now been complete, and you'll be into the new triennium with bells on.
Yes, well, we're getting papers already through for our next meeting anyway, so it doesn't stop, even though there's not another meeting till the end of January. There's still things going on that the board need to get involved in.
Some of the papers that are produced for these meetings are massive. They're books, aren't they? They are tomes. And,
yes.
And so it's wonderful that you're doing the work there, and perhaps we can check up on you late in January to see how things are going.
That would be great. So there's a lot of reading.
Yes, a lot of
reading. And it's not something you actually want to go to bed with and read, because I think it might put you to sleep.
That has been my experience, Chris, I know that. I must say that reading the papers is getting harder and harder, so good on you for doing that.
You've got to do it in the morning when you're fresh and wide awake.
Indeed. And Chris, look, I'd just like to wish you and yours all the very best for the festive season, and do hope that you have some time off and that you don't do some reading for a little bit.
Well, that would be nice, but I'm not holding my breath.
Good on you, Chris. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. There we are, the chair of Otaki Community Board.
106.3 Beach FM.